Well, hello everyone. I really hope you're not getting sick of plushie videos because I've just been having a good time. And I have taken a giant leap of faith and I signed up to do a craft fair, but it's not until November. It's November 18th. So that gives me a lot of time to figure out what it is that I want to make, get the stuff made, and purchase the display things that I think that I might need to set up a table. So that was like one of the main reasons I waited for November, was to not rush myself, to allow myself time to make the different things that needed to be made, to choose which things that needed to be made, but also being in Florida to get past hurricane season. A lot of the really big popular markets, at least in my area, start in like September and into October, which would be great, but they're outdoors, and September is usually like the busiest month for hurricane season. And when they say no refunds, you know, you can't control an act of God and that weather. I'm like, I'm not going to give you $95 and have a storm come through and it's game over. So the one that I chose is in November, and it's on November 18th. And usually they call it a craft fair, but this year they're calling it a fall festival, even though November 18th is like almost Christmas. And that was the other thing too, with it being almost Christmas, is people would be in the mindset of shopping for gifts. I thought that would be a good place to start. Maybe if it's like does really well, it might give me the like a false impression of how markets are. But it's a $35 fee. It's indoors. Well, you had your choice of indoor or outdoor. The indoor, you get an 8x8 space. Outside, you get 10x10. But indoor, I don't have to worry about having a canopy to cover myself. They give you one table and one chair, so I don't have to purchase several tables. I can just get one extra table to go along with the one that they provide. And if you need more than one chair, they'll give you an extra chair. They said they had plenty of chairs. And before I jumped right in, I called them and asked them, like, what do I need? Do I need a special vendor's license? Do I need, what exactly are the requirements? And they told me just me and my product. And I was like, cool. So that saves on expense. So I've gone on Amazon and like made up a wish list for myself on different things that I think that I might need. And, to give myself time to look it over and watch people's videos to see how they have their tables and things set up. So like a definite is you got to have bags. You need price tags, a tablecloth so that it looks nice. So there's certain things that I know that I absolutely need to get. And then there's other things like how to display them. Like you don't just want everything dumped in the middle of the table because you don't want it to look like it's a flea market. And so you need some types of displays. So I put on my wish list all these different types of displays, and I have to go back through and figure out which ones that I would like to have and which ones I don't necessarily need, because it's not going to be a large space. They give you a 6-foot table. So I figure I was trying to figure out how to line up the tables. Like I said, I got 3 months, more than 3 months to figure this out. But I don't think 6 feet would be enough space. So like if I got a 4-foot table to go along with it, or if I got another 6-foot table, and I would just have to be able to play with it to set up the configuration in this 8-foot by 8-foot space. So I'm like excited about that, but I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. I don't have to sit there and like try to crochet 30 items in a day. I can pick and choose. I can try to be different from other people. And I mean, I have bought quite a few patterns over the last few weeks. I have played with a lot of free patterns over the last few weeks. I definitely am not to the point where I could write my own pattern on the amigurumi yet. So I guess you could call me a market prepper now. Maybe. I mean, that's a ways to go. So anyways, let me show you what I have played with over the last week, which wasn't as much because, you know, real life gets in the way. And some of them, all right, 2 of them took longer than I thought. But I don't get to just sit and crochet because there's 9 million interruptions. I get a phone call, or the daughter wants to ask me a question, or the other half wants to ask me a question. And it's always when you're trying to count and keep track, and then you're frogging it out because you've lost count. And so, yeah. Then I get distracted because I've got YouTube playing, or I've got Hulu on, or Netflix, or whatever. And that slows me down because they'll be talking about something, it'll catch my attention, and I look up, and then it's like, okay, where was I? Was that an increase, or was that just a regular single crochet? And so it takes me a little bit longer. But anywho, free patterns. I did a couple of these little mini octos, Crochet by Jenna, I think it's her pattern. And so I did 2 using the Parfait Chunky, but I grabbed 2 different eyes. And like this one has small eyes, this one has big eyes. Small eyes kind of look angry. I don't know. Like maybe it needs a little blush under the eyes, or a little eyebrow, maybe some eyelashes, something so where it just doesn't look so plain. But those are a nice, cute little size, and they're quick to make, and I know everybody makes these. And that's kind of like the thing. I don't want to be like everyone else. I would like to have, yes, you need your bread and butter items, but I would like to have things that are different from other people's. And since we all get our patterns from the same place, everybody's the same. So I'm looking. And then I did another one of those octos out of the Bernat Baby. And this came out quite a bit bigger. I gave it colored eyes, but same pattern, just there's definitely a size difference. So I did those, and those were fun because they were so quick, and it was just like, it was almost like mindless crochet with those. That was nice. Then there is this other YouTube channel, Sweet Softies? I'm not sure. But she had these cute little ducks, and I had tried some other ducks before, and they didn't turn out so hot for me. So, of course, I'm going to test it out with my scrap yarns first. So, this one here is just, I had leftover. Like, I didn't have enough of this yellow to go all the way around, so I threw in that gold, and then I had a little bit of this red. But I liked the shape of it. And, of course, with the right colors, that matched, he wouldn't be an ugly duckling. It'd turn out pretty cool. So because it was fairly easy to do, and I liked the shape, and it turned out to be like a decent little size, I decided I'm going to do one in pink. So Barbie has her own little duck. And again, I like how it turned out. And I used that, I think it's tangerine, the orange for the beak, and a ballet pink, and I don't remember the color of this pink. Hibiscus. So hibiscus pink, ballet pink, and I don't have white because they were sold out of white. This is a cream color. But next to those, it looks close enough to white to be white, and it's not as stark. But I think these little ducks turn out nice, and they're a good little size, you know, like it sits in the palm of your hand. So Barbie has her own duck. So then, little fuzzies everywhere. Then another YouTube channel, and I'll have to link these channels because I'll be darned if I can remember the names of all the channels, did a seahorse pattern, and this was my first attempt at it. I think it was fairly easy, but I would add a little stuffing in this part, just a little to firm it up. But it was fairly easy to do. Now, second time around will probably be even easier. But yeah, so seahorse. I don't see people really showing those. And then this one, this ladybug, came out of a book that I have. I did it a little different than the pattern called for because I thought it looked silly with white on the bottom. All the fuzz. How do you get rid of all the fuzz sticking out? So I did black on the bottom. I just thought it looked cooler. And they had weird looking eyes. Like they had the two eyes like right in the middle of the head. So I've separated the eyes out further. And because this was black and I had black safety eyes, you know, I tried to give it some white highlight. But I thought this turned out pretty cool. Little ladybug. Then another YouTube pattern. And I thought, now I've never seen it before, and you guys have probably seen them, but have you ever heard of a positive potato? I'm like, how cute is that? So I didn't really have the right colors in the plushy yarn, so I pulled out some of my acrylics, some I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby, and I just double stranded it. And it still ended up fairly small. But this little guy is called a positive potato. And look at his little poochy belly right here. So I thought that was really clever. He almost looks like a peanut with the color that I picked. If I put a top hat on him, he can be Mr. Peanut. Yeah, the little arms, but he's a positive potato. So then I tried to do it just to see what the size difference would be out of the Bernat blanket. And I had like a, I don't know, like a light tan color. And look at the size difference between a double strand acrylic and the Bernat. And I believe I used a 6.5 or a 7 millimeter hook with this one. And this was a 4.5 millimeter with it double stranded. And definitely using the yarn under, because you can kind of see the X with that, but see how nice and straight and lined up the stitches are? this was also with the plushie yarn. And this is what I meant about how it looks like needlepoint, where all the stitches go in one direction. You don't actually see the X. But he looks like he's a peeled potato. And that looks more like the Ruskin Positive Potato. So I played with those. And everybody's doing these pickles. And I'm like, I heard somebody call it an emotional support pickle, and I just got a giggle out of it. I chuckled, and I thought, okay, gotta have a pickle, because in my button shop, I have a pickle set, and it does really well. So I tried it with, hold on. So I tested it out with the acrylic yarn, because green is one of those colors that I don't really have a lot of on the plush yarn, because they're out of stock. So I tried this one, and looking at other people's, I mean, I really don't think you need a pattern to make a pickle, but it looks like to me that they were using a bobble stitch to make the little bumps on the pillow, or on the pickle. So I tried one, and those just look like he's got some giant growths on him. So I was like, that won't work for me. So I started over, and instead of using a bobble stitch, I just did a triple crochet and then followed it with a single crochet. And I think that those little bumps turned out nicer than these giant things that look like a growth. Yeah, it looks more like this should be a cactus with bumps than a pickle. But I was like, it needs a little bow tie. So I gave it a bow tie. And that little bump there ended up looking like it's a nose. And then I tried it again using my sparkly velvet yarn that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now it's a darker green, but I made this one a little girl, gave her a pink bow on her head, and did the same thing. I just used a triple crochet to make the little bumps, and you have them there, but it's not, doesn't look like a giant growth. Now both of these, this one is doubled up with the Premier Basics yarn. This one, I'm pretty sure I doubled up the yarn, but it's a 4, and it's velvety, and it's got the little sparkle stuff, you know, looks like a glitter, looks like a glitter pickle. But I gave her a little pink bow in her hair. So I thought adding the little bows to it gave it a little extra touch. So those are emotional support pickles. They're kind of small. Maybe. I don't know. I think they're good size. They're definitely not jumbo, but I think they're cute. So then Instagram, I did a couple of patterns. Now this one, I think I need to add the little spots on the mushroom top, but he's one of those little pop mushrooms. This one was quick and easy, and it was fun to make. So I would definitely probably make some more of these and give it a little butt in the back. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got little butt cheeks. But that's so cute. So I think I definitely like those. And this is the Parfait Chunky in cream and cardinal, I believe. Then also on Instagram, this one I just saw the other day, but it's super easy. And it is a little Jigglypuff. You know, it's a Pokemon. And it's cute. I put purple glitter eyes on it. But this one was really easy to do, and I love this shade of pink. This is that hibiscus pink. And so yeah, that one was pretty quick and easy. Then, not on Instagram, but I found this just by doing a Google search. I was looking for, I just Googled free amigurumi patterns, and I mean, I don't know how relevant this still is. And of course, again, today I was trying to time myself to see how long does it take. Now, really, the first time doing a pattern, I don't think you should time yourself. Maybe after you've done it a few times and you're familiar with what's going to happen with the pattern. But I made a crew member from Among Us, and it was a free pattern, and the pattern comes with like, this is just a regular crew member, and then there was a dead crew member, and one that's got a bone on top. But it gives you a couple of different types of tops to do. Or hats. I just decided to do the plant because I thought it was the easiest. And like I said, I tried timing myself, and I had Toby attacking me. I had the phone ringing, which was important because I was waiting on that phone call from the lady about the market. And then Jenna, then me getting distracted with what's happening on my computer screen. And yeah, so this little guy took me a couple of hours with all the interruptions. But he's not hard to do. So I think uninterrupted would definitely be less than an hour. So, but like I said, I don't know how relevant they are. I mean, do people still play that game? Are people still into it? I don't know. So, I did one paid pattern this week, and this one is so cool. Now, this one took me several hours because I had a whole ton of interruptions. Like, I finished it last night. When I looked at the clock, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, what? But I had dinner, the cat, John, Jenna, the cat again. Just a lot of interruptions. Plus, I was watching Law and Order SVU, and of course, you know, it's going to grab my attention and distract me from what I'm doing. So, let me show you. This is a paid pattern. I got it on Etsy. Look at this guy. Is he not just the cutest? Is he not just the cutest? Now, you can make it with the face shield, or there's instructions to actually give it a face with the eyes and all that. But I thought, for a little kid, I need things that don't have the safety eyes. But along with, like, he's got his little oxygen backpack on. You could do this in, like, all kinds of different colors. But he turned out pretty good. I think for the paid patterns that required a lot of sewing, and this was a lot of sewing. Like, you make the body separate from the head, separate from the little blue side pieces here, separate from the arms, separate from the legs. And it was a lot of sewing, and I was trying to be so careful. I was just like, I want this to turn out really cool. I want it to turn out nice. And so you get this, and then it gives you options for it to hold something. Like, it has a miniature alien or a sun. I chose to do the sun. I'm not going to sew it to it because I think it hides a lot of the detail if you were to sew the sun onto it. So that would go with it, but separate. And then John and Jenna both said, oh, you should have made a moon. And I'm like, well, the moon would be the same color as the outfit and then it wouldn't look right. Now, maybe if I did, a different color outfit rather than this cream color, then yeah, do a moon with it. It would be fine. And then the little alien, I just thought this one would be the easier option because by that point I'm like ready to be done because it was so late and I had already spent so much time. But that, well, I did work on this one other one. It didn't turn out too good. I mean, I didn't finish it, but it's supposed to be like a little no-sew bear, and it doesn't look too bearish to me. It's like, so yeah, I didn't finish it. I just kind of set it aside. This will probably end up being a cat toy for Toby. And I think that's all that I played with this week. So yeah, I am excited that I'm going to do a market. I want to have other things besides the plushies, along with the crochet, like some of the baby blankets that I've been making with the filet, some of the granny square fingerless gloves that I did a tutorial on, stuff that would be quick and easy to make, maybe some washcloths, some keychains. I don't know. Just seems like it's going to be a lot of work, but I got 3 months. I have 3 months to get myself ready. So what I'm going to do, especially for you guys that have done markets before, I'm going to put my wish list in the comment section. And if you can take a look at it and see what I have on there and which of like the display units that I put on there you think would be like a good idea. So, because if I just buy a few, like if I bought one next week and then waited a few weeks and bought another one and then waited a few weeks and bought another one, if I did it like that, it wouldn't seem like such a huge expense all at once, and I can spread it out. Because I have 3 months to do that. And it's a lot, it seems like, to do your first market. But I'm excited about it. And it was so funny because on Sunday, we went over to John's sister's house for dinner because they're getting ready to leave. Their son is having his first child in August. So they're going to be leaving soon to go up for the birth of their grandchild. And so we were over there, and I was sitting there talking to her about the plushies and showing her pictures of some of the ones that I've made, and told her that I was thinking about doing a craft market. And she's like, oh, I can help you with that. So she has a friend that goes to her church that does this particular market. And she said she thinks it's twice a year, but that part I'm not sure about. I'll find that out later on. And so right away, she texts her friend to find out information for me. Because I was telling her I wasn't sure, like, do I need special licenses for that? Or do you have to have like a vendor permit for the day, or, just exactly what goes into being able to sell at a craft market? And she sent her a text, and then yesterday she sends me a link for the application for it, and I'm reading it. Didn't say a whole lot, so I waited. I made a phone call and asked for them to return my call because I had a few questions about it. And just went from there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll work out. So you guys might see a whole bunch of prep videos, like when I do get the display pieces in, like trying to set it up and see how it'll look, and trying to decide which items I want to sell and which items I don't. I mean, because I would like to stand out from the crowd and not have exactly the same thing. And then trying to figure out prices. I know you got to add your time into it, but as slow as I am at this stuff with all the interruptions, I could never get paid for my time. So be less than minimum wage. So like in November, Florida's minimum wage will be at $12 an hour, I believe. So if I was to pay myself minimum wage, like to sell this, as long as this took yesterday, it would be probably about $60. I mean, and I don't know if you can like charge that much for some of these things. I have no clue. This was fairly quick, but still, it probably, with all the interruptions, it probably took me about an hour. You know, so your material costs and then your hourly wage. I mean, would something like this be a $13 to $15 item if I were to pay myself the minimum wage? I mean, I don't know. So there's a lot to figure out with doing this. But like I said, take a look at my wish list and tell me, like, if, especially if you have market experience, is this a good choice for a display rack or not? You know, just help me out with that. Just like, is this a good idea or not a good idea? And I guess a lot of it will depend on what I decide I'm going to make. Obviously, you want a bunch of, you know, little cheapo items that you can, you know, mom and dad can just satisfy the little kid with, I would think. But I would also like some grown-up items. I don't know. But that is what I have today. And if you're still here, thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble. And I will see you over here in the next video.